Do do do. Put my headphones in. How you like me now? Did I set up the buttons right? Let's find out. Nope. I know. That's better. Look, I'm outside right. Friends and homies. I did it again. I got it working. Yeah. So yesterday we worked on the Pokemon thing, which people seem to dig. We will get back to that. I forgot that my final art for my weekly art challenge is due tomorrow. Thankfully, I'd done the sketches, and now we just gotta paint it. So let's do it. One second while I fix the audio. I guess we don't have music. Sorry about that. Guess we'll have to get by with my good looks and melodious voice. Alright. So, this week's theme is Golden Hot Pants. I did not pick it. It was actually part of a randomized wheel. So tonight's goal is we're going to paint it. Watercolors, of course. And then ink it. And if there's time, we might dive into some digital stuff with it. If there's time. Now, lately, everything I've been doing is some form of brown. Like the primary color. Which I am getting kind of sick of. But the inspiration for this guy is half goblin, half half Krampus, which is notoriously brown. So I guess we got one more night of browns. Let's see. You want to see the original sketch? I think I got that here. Original sketch is not around. Oh, no, I see it. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. No Muzak? No. There is no Muzak. There was. downloaded it. I see it right there. But the needle thingy's not moving, so I guess we don't have it. I will figure it out later. Because if I've proven anything, it's that I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing just yet. This is the original sketch. I figure if you're going to be wearing golden hot pants, you really want to accentuate it. Hence this pose. Not so much seductive, look at my groinal area, but check out these pants. I think I nailed that. I really want to go with... I'm debating whether to paint actual gold. As in, I have some gold watercolors that has some cool metallic flecks in it. Or trying to go with a non-metallic metallic. What's that? It's like painting... Instead of using metallic paint, you use a combination of colors to make it look metallic. It's definitely a lot harder to do, but it does look nicer, in my opinion. Just don't know if we'll have time. That's the original sketch, though. And then I throw it on the light table and trace it onto here. Our good friend Scooter. Tech problems happen. Fed more than not. Yeah. Have you seen my pants? No, wait. You missed them. My pants are on tour of the solar system. Space pants. Correct. Alright, let's make sure we're still... This is that... I don't know if... Can you see this if I do this? There's a happy medium. Trying to work normally, but have the camera not be in your way. And I am a very close painter, so I am all up. My face is almost... It's like inches from the paper, but now I keep hitting the camera with my hat. Alright. What do we do? We make sure we have our essentials. And paints, we hydrate. Over yonder. And off we go, man. We'll start off with a light brown. My other goal is to not sound too much like Bob Ross today. A normal goal in life is to sound more like Bob Ross, but not today because I just watched that Netflix documentary. And from... No spoilers. But from the name of it... I know Goblinoids. Well... Funny you should mention that. There are goblinoids on the horizon. There are. But it's one of those things that I can't do publicly yet. So here we are. Right, the Bob Ross thing on Netflix, right? Yeah, so to look at the title, you're like, no. I mean, Bob Ross is the closest thing you're going to get to a saint that I can think of, right? And the title's something like Happy Accidents and Scandals and Deceptions or something like that, right? So I didn't want to watch it. Like, I didn't want to find out like he was a secret scumbag. And like any good documentary, it baits you along for a little bit. Because they have his son on, and his son doesn't call him Dad. He calls him, Bob. You know? He's like, Bob loved painting, and Bob was always thinking about the next thing as he was doing the first thing. So he didn't really get. Are they gonna bash Bob Ross? Again, no spoilers, but I would highly recommend watching it. I still love Bob Ross. Actually, you know what? Watching that documentary, the guy that he modeled a lot of his early, where he first one on the road painting, the joy of painting, before the show, was it Bill Alexander or something? His setup was a lot like Bob's was, you know, black background, just painting in front of an easel, in front of a camera. Except he was foreign. He was German, something like that. And so he spoke pretty abruptly. No offense to Germany or its fine people, but your language sometimes. I don't think it's unfair to say. Anyway, I remember seeing that guy as a kid. Then they showed the dates which he did his shows, and I felt kind of old. I will say, love Bob Ross, love his legacy, live your life like Bob Ross, but don't buy Bob Ross products. Thankfully, he doesn't do any watercolor stuff, so I'm not in too much danger of that. Mr. Tom, what kind of stuff do you use? Well, super good question. Thanks for asking. My paints are like a... Hey, your mother's from Germany, you're not wrong. Yeah. So, this really awesome person I'm doing a book with is from Germany. And she is the first person from Germany I've spoken with that doesn't sound like angry at me, I guess. But we're working together, so maybe it's just because we're working together she doesn't sound angry. But she is supremely cool, man. And actually, on the subject of Germany, the platform I have my website, right? Wix.com. It's pretty awesome. I like it. I don't have any complaints. Then again, I'm not super website tech savvy, so I couldn't tell you why it's better than another one. It's just super easy for me to use. But it has this feature, and it hasn't always been there. It's just something that showed up one day. And it tells me when somebody's on the site. So when I make a post or something, the other day I made a blog post, and I put a link on it to all my social stuff, and I could see, boop, 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 people popping up from all over checking out. I was like, oh, this is kind of awesome. It happened just enough to not get annoying. But it was enough to make me feel pretty good. I was like, oh man, it's awesome. It goes off every... Okay, back to the point of the story. It gives me a general location of where somebody is when they're on the site. And Munich, Germany pops up several times a day, every day, for the last 3 weeks. The person I'm working with that is from Germany, I think, is not in Germany. I think she's in Hawaii. And I don't think that she's using like a VPN from there. Plus we talk, so it's be weird if she's on the site. But if you're watching this and you're from Germany, specifically Munich, and you're checking out the site every day, I see you and I appreciate you. If you're from the US and you're checking out my site every once and again, I appreciate you. Scooter. I love Wix. They make things much easier for creators. Yeah, man, Wix is awesome. I had Squarespace for a bit. They're alright. I mean, just Wix just seems to be a whole lot easier. Really wish I could get that audio working though. Originally I thought about maybe doing green fur, kind of like the Grinch, but then I was afraid he would look too Grinchy. Since I'm already kind of modeling it after my Krampus figure, my Krampus character, you know? Man, I gotta say, quick timeout. After streaming yesterday, and then playing video games, not streaming Call of Duty or anything, it was a lot more fun to play while I wasn't streaming. Here's the thing. Here, it's easy for me to watch my language. It's easy for me to, you know, if something happens here, I could fix it. And I could do it pretty rationally. I can do it without throwing a controller. Like, I won't throw my paintbrush. Ah, the line sucks. Ugh. Right? Gaming? It sometimes takes some... Still takes some restraint. And here, painting, I don't have those urges. I mean, I love them both. Just very different activities. You know? I think one of the hardest things about watercolor painting in general, is knowing when to work wet on wet and when to go in when it's dry. Why is that? I mean, that's the basics of watercolor, really. You're trying to create a gradient or some smooth transition from one color to the next. You have to wait. I mean, you have to go in when it's still wet, or go in and reactivate the paint. If you want to create texture, you want to give depth, add shadows, all that. I mean, you gotta do that when it's dry. And especially in an illustrative form of watercolor. Like, I know when I paint something, I can hide some of this outside the, my lines. I can hide some of that in my line work at the end. There's not a lot of traditional watercolors that do Maybe there are. I haven't seen a lot of illustrative watercolors use their lines to hide their sins. I had a kid who was watching the stream last night. I say kid. They presented as someone much younger than myself. And he said he had 13 cats. I got a little jealous. Alright. You see here, there's some banding. I have a dark spot here, it gets real light here. Back to the mid-tone here. Let's fix it. I debated when I was setting up, the camera work and all that stuff. Well, when I was setting everything up, I debated whether to have a camera on my face and instead using a camera on my palette. And I think I made the wrong choice. I think it's much more interesting to have a camera on my palette. Because who really wants to see my face? I don't even want to see my face. Man, this is why I love watercolors. They just seem to work together. I tried the same stuff, and I've seen people get very similar effects and really good-looking stuff from using like Copic markers, and I get really jealous because that stuff's awesome. But I can't get that to work. I'm gonna admit, this is a little darker than I intended. But no big deal. Just run it down. No big deal. See? That'll be I like having a variation in the fur. So it's not just all brown, it's not just one color, and you kind of create a texture with just, really minimal effort. Just layering some different colors on. So like, back to this guy. see, what time is it? It is 8:28. 8:28. Yeah. So there was a time where I'd be watching wrestling right now. I love wrestling. I still watch wrestling. I just don't watch on Monday nights anymore. I just can't. I've been hurt too many times. I watch wrestling. The wrestling I do watch Wednesday nights. I watch with my friends. Some of them actually do this weekly art challenge that we're doing this for. And I really like hanging out with them online. And I figured if I'm not going to watch wrestling tonight or on Mondays, I want to hang out with somebody. What better thing to do than paint with you guys? I think I'm going to leave the pants for last. That seems to make the most sense to me. I want to get dark under here so I won't have to shade so much. Being under the head. Get a little lighter under here. But not too light. Too light, I might ruin the gold. I think the other thing that's really hard to get used to with watercolors is I still struggle with this. The way it looks as you're laying paint down might have nothing to do with how it looks when it's dry. Eventually, the more you work with these paints, you start to get a feeling for how it's going to look, its characteristics. Some are more transparent. Some are more opaque. And then you have to factor in the water to pigment ratio, which, I mean, last night when I was painting, I was painting Frillish, the pink one. I used the same color pink and it uses 3 different shades, and it's just a matter of adding more water. So if you start off really thick, like a really opaque, very little water, do that color, you can just keep adding water. Sorry, water. Trying to keep my East Coast in check. Just keep adding water. And you can get totally different colors, man. And sometimes it's just a matter of going in with straight water and moving stuff around. I mean, if you ever get really lost, you wet everything, you get a paper towel, and you just kind of lightly tap it away. You can pick up a lot of pigment. It'll never be pure white like the paper is when you started. But, it's a good way to get back control it starts getting away from you. Legs. It's leg day. I cast away. Me. You may notice that I am only using one brush. And you would be correct. I am only using one brush. I usually only use one brush unless it's like a landscape or something with a large area. One thing that's really hard to get rid of with watercolors is, like, you can get like a dry line where if you start working on one particular area, and then you come back to it with wet paint, you can have this really distinct, obviously watercolor drawing line. It's almost like if you go into someone's basement that's been flooded before or floods frequently, you can see that water line right at the wall. It's very much like that. Just don't focus here. That annoys me to no end. I know there are certain situations and certain compositions where that you can make that work to your advantage, and you can make it a beautiful characteristic of watercolor, but man, it really grinds my gears. Scooter, if you're still in chat, did you finish Final Fantasy? I saw you on the other day, but I didn't get a chance to tune in. Once again, I really want to sell the idea that this is like a calico Krampus, because I don't feel like a Krampus, like a normal regular old Krampus, would wear gold hot pants. I feel like one with some style and panache would definitely. And I feel like a calico Krampus would surely have that je ne sais quoi. Alright, this is the part. Not yet. Here's the thing. Like I said before about wet on wet and waiting for something to dry. If you go in too early and the area you're working, the current area you're working on is next to a wet area, and those things start to bleed and you lose that area, So if I go to color in paint in his mouth, the sides here aren't quite dry yet, so that black, or the color that I intend to use, would spread out. We're not ready. So let's get some ears. Now this is one of my favorite things to do. Let's see. Yeah. Alright. So I'll put a lot of paint on there. Not a lot of water. In fact, and I will put real thick. Wash it out. Just come with the wet brush, no paint, and just pull it down. That pigment actually, let's get a bit more. Yeah. The pigment will fall, yeah. The pigment will follow down that water. Follow that water down. For that gradient that I want. And I want to really push that ear, give that give the notion that, you know, the ear has some depth to it, at least in the inner part of the ear. So you make that part darker and let it be lighter towards the edges. The same thing on this side. Get a ton of color. Get all the pigment out. It's super important though to go in one direction. If you start going back and forth, it will bring all of the, it'll bring all those pigments and kind of swirl them around and just get even coverage, and you lose that smooth gradient. I am still here. Sorry, I was hunting humans as the Demogorgon in Dead by Daylight. Oh, well, I mean, good. That is a much more worthwhile cause than watching me paint a calico Krampus wearing hot pants. Oof, this part is always nerve-wracking. Excellent. Oof. Oof. I'm actually watching on my second monitor, so I can do both. Can't always talk. Yeah. I have got, hypothetically, is it cheating to have, purely hypothetical, to have another screen on signed in watching you on your end while you stream? Not that I'm doing that. Or how else? No, it's called testing. Hey, Blake's here. Hey, guy. Yeah, I have been testing. I tested my audio before coming on. It worked. And then as soon as I hit go live, it cut out. Wait. I think I found out why it's not working. Hold on. No, just kidding. Just kidding. It is broken forever. Music's never coming back. Ever. It's not plugged in. It was plugged in. I just thought I didn't hit play. For a brief moment, I thought I did not hit play. And it turns out it's still broken. It's fine. It's fine. You know why it's fine? Because I can't fix it right yet. I don't know if this one's gonna sell like hotcakes. I promised myself I was gonna put out more prints and make them available, because when I was posting every day, I'd get requests for prints all the time, but I just couldn't do it. Couldn't get it together. I tried having an Etsy shop, Etsy, whatever, but that was a small nightmare. So I finally made like an ArtStation account, and they handle all of the print stuff. But I feel like I've had the same artworks up for sale of prints that whoever was going to buy one has already bought them. So I said if I was going to do these weekly things that I would make, no matter how it turned out, I would make them into a print. So this guy, the Calico Krampus, will be available as a print. I don't know. I think this is because of hubris. Last night I was like, man, this sounds and looks great. Look at all I have accomplished. And tonight, I wouldn't say I was overconfident, but when I came into it tonight, I was like, you know what? Last night was pretty smooth. Feel pretty good. Not overly confident, just pretty good. And it was working. I promise you, that little bar where it says desktop audio, where the music comes from, was just dancing. And as soon as I hit go live, this light was on like it should be. That little line's dancing. It dances with my voice. Pure perfection. And when I realized I'm wearing headphones, I'm still wearing headphones for absolutely no reason whatsoever. There is no music to be heard. What is it? 47 minutes into it, I realize don't need headphones. I'm a smart boy. I'm tired. Hooves. Hooves are traditionally very dark. Are we traditional tonight? Yeah. Yes. Yes, fine people we are. We've already given him golden hot pants. The least we can do is give him some traditional hoods. Uh-oh. Mrs. Mr. Tom has texted. Does this make your alarms go off? Oh. Just want to hang out with him. See what... I wish I could read that. It's an odd one. Yeah. If you saw a post, this is all hypothetical. If you saw a post of an adult asking to hang out with specifically like a set of twins, right? Hypothetically. To babysit, but not too late. Like 7 o'clock. For random times. Does that make your alarm? Does that set your internal alarm go off? Because sure does me. Sure does mine. That might not make a lot of sense. I don't know how to paraphrase what I just hypothetically read. Yeah. Oh boy. There is something I can't explain. It is the irrational fear of doing long curved lines, especially following along a predetermined long curved line. It is... Oh man, I can't breathe when I do it. I have to hold my breath. And that seems to be the only thing that... Oh, this is the worst part at the end. Oh god. That's the worst. I've had nightmares about this. I can live with that. That is a sign of true craftsmanship right there. Oh yeah, the other hoof. Hoof. It behooves me. Nightmare on Tom Street? Yes. I'm in the process of printing about 7 million miniatures for D&D and Pathfinder. I'll have to learn to paint eventually. Yes. There are a ton of videos I can send you. There are a ton of tips I can give you. I think actually I'm going to paint some miniatures on here. On the Twitch. Did this guy get a soft drink at Wawa? Yeah. Yeah, man. Where else do you get soft drinks? If not from Wawa? Sheets? I think not. Actually, I was gonna paint it as an ode to my dad, the Jazzy Cup, but I realized that every time I've had to draw a cup, it's been a Jazzy Cup. Quick Trip. What even is a Quick Trip? That's not how you spell Wawa. Get out of here. That nonsense. It's a Midwest version of Wawa, so not Wawa then. is what I'm hearing. Oh man, Sheets. I can't stand Sheets. Yeah, who can? People who work at Sheets hate Sheets. They have barbecue sandwiches. Everything in the Midwest has barbecue sandwiches. Come on, man. Nerve-wracking. Oh, so the kid last night that was watching me stream was like, "Why are you always licking your brush?" You know what it's like to have a child call you out on something so stupid like that? Why do you lick your brush? It's not great. Doesn't make you feel good. But you lick it to keep the tip on. See? Is that better? We're done here. Ooh. Yeah, look at that brush. I did learn that about painting minis. Yes, but... Okay. While this dries. You should not do that. I learned that a long time ago. Recently, I've learned a much, much better technique. Is to use the palm of your hand, like right here, and draw it through. Helps if you have chubby hands. Just saying. And draw it through here. Because, especially if you have, like, well, I guess even synthetic, natural and synthetic bristles will break down from the enzymes and stuff in your mouth. Even if you brush your teeth a whole bunch. Eventually it'll ruin them. And although these are not great... No, these are fine. These brushes are awesome. I use these for... Specifically this number 2 round. For everything. I just retired one. Fun story. Story time. I had a version of this brush that I used to do both of the 2 books, right? And after dipping it in water for past 5 years, all the paint's chipped from all here, like from here down, it's just bare wood, and it's like discolored, and this burl is all mangled and used, and it just started to fray. So I framed it along with some of the sketches from those books. It's like my favorite thing in the world. And then I retired that brush, obviously, to frame it. And this guy just joined the family. Story time. But yeah, don't put it in your mouth. Don't be like me. What color is the cup? Well, our cups are all clear. I don't feel good about leaving that clear. What color is the cup? Red and blue? Like a certain wrestler has a tattoo for soft drinks? Fine, red and blue. What about a yellow old school type of Wendy's cup? Pepsi Man. Yeah, Pepsi Man's good. Yeah, I don't know. There's some stuff that's on the software that has kicked a couple of links and then yelled at somebody. The bot yelled at somebody, and then they yelled back at the bot. And I just kind of sat back and giggled because I didn't know how to turn the bot off. Then I figured it was pretty funny that this kid's yelling at a bot. so I let it happen. Does that make me a bad person? Oh man, might be magic time. Alright, now comes the bravery test. Number 3. Bravery test. Labadas Lacata, so that is better than the whooshing sound. I know who Okada is, man. Can't wait till he comes through the forbidden door. Alright. What I'm going to attempt to do now. Hold your ears. Okay, what I'm going to attempt to do now is glaze the whole thing. Do it too heavy and it overpowers everything and gives it a weird overtone. Do it just right and it ties all of your colors together. Let's go. Oh, I feel good about this. Yeah. Sweet. So this gives everything. Ooh. Okay, I'm thinking about doing some mini painting streams. Do you have any tips or tricks for painting them? I'm a total novice at best. My brushes are always getting all spread out and I'm not good at cleaning them. Ooh, alright. Yeah. Let's go. See this stuff? Get this. Super cheap. Every art store has them. It'll last you forever. I think it's like $4. If I could take half of this and give it to you, I would. And I'd still never need to buy it again. Warm water. Well, hold on. It depends on your type of brushes. Yeah, synthetic hair brushes, which are generally cheaper. Totally different care than natural hairs. Natural hairs are a dream. Some Klawinski natural fibers. That's what all your favorite streamers use. But if... Let me see. Hold up. I got you. Yeah. But these guys... Army Painter. Each one of these, this one was $15 and this one was $14. If you have $30 to invest in some brushes that are easy to take care of, and I think these 6 sizes would get me through everything but a vehicle. A vehicle, I just need a larger brush. They are. I've only had the Citadel brushes so far, probably synthetic. The Citadel brushes are really good, but they're really expensive, especially for what they are. The Army Painter brushes are just as good. I think the handles aren't as nice, but that's literally personal preference. And if something happens to an army painter brush, I don't cry. Because the sailor brushes, man, are just so expensive. Like, needlessly expensive. You know? But I've been doing a lot more airbrushing lately. I just airbrushed all of my... What are they? Oh, what are the Age of Sigmar Space Marines? What are they? The Stormcast Eternals. I've had a small, like, collect this army box put together but not painted for a very long time, so I took the plunge. I just airbrushed them. I'll go back and pick out some details. Tips, though. Tips. Okay. Age of Sigmar Space Marines. Yes. They're the Stormcast Eternal. You can't tell me that those things are not the Sigmar version of Space Marines. In fact, Custodes from Space Marines, I've seen a lot of people make Custodes out of the Stormcast Eternal bodies. It's like the perfect scale for a Primaris Marine. And it's just like the perfect amount of ornate for the armor to just work out well. The other tip, contrast paints are awesome, especially if you're not looking, if you know you're not going to win the Golden Demon Award, and if you just want to get tabletop ready, there's nothing wrong with contrast paints. They're awesome. I use them for certain things. Can't go wrong. But the oil washes. I just started doing this. Oil washes are like literally oil. Instead of using Nuln Oil for everything, paint everything as basic colors, flat colors. It doesn't have to be anything like extraordinary. Just put the paint on there, base colors, and then slap on some really thinned down black oil paint. Oil paint you get from AC Moore or Michaels, no, AC Moore's gone. From Michaels. Big tube is, I don't know, $5. And you get odorless paint thinner. Or mineral spirits, or I use Gamble is the same stuff. It's also called white spirits in other parts of the world. It's just odorless paint thinner. You thin it down to the consistency of a wash, and you slap it all over the place. You slap it over the entire model. Some people say varnish it before, but if you varnish it before, great. It lowers the surface tension and it'll flow a lot easier. That's awesome. But not necessary. I haven't yet. I've been too afraid that I want to go back and do a color or fix something underneath of it. I digress. Alright. Thin it down to the consistency of a wash. You slap it over the whole thing. You let it dry for half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Actually, it doesn't matter. You can let it sit overnight. Then you get that white spirits, the same stuff that you thinned it with. You get a little makeup brush, a little sponge thing, Q-tips. You're going to need a lot of Q-tips, though. And you just start dabbing it off. And what makes it so much better than just doing washes is instead of staining the colors underneath, like a contrast paint or a shade or a wash that stains all those colors, it leaves all those brilliant colors that you already put down and really just settles into the recesses. And you just keep dabbing it off until you've got your original colors that you had, and you can even leave it darker in some areas to give that little gradient. If you don't get odorless, the wife won't be very happy. Well, yeah, the odorless, man, it's important. If you, first off, it stinks. Second off, like, I don't know, it is a solvent, so there's still a real danger to it. But I'd almost rather to have be like a low odor, so it doesn't irritate you, but you still know it's there. I remember when I was running the printers down here, I had there was an option between no odor and low odor. I went with low odor because I'd rather know that it's in the air or be ever present of it than it just being around and me breathing it in. Anyway, I'm sorry. This guy, all oil wash. Nope, that's a lie. I did a really thin Athenian camo shade over it. I did a base coat of green and then a lighter green zenithal spray with the airbrush. Athenian, however you say it, camo shade, and then that black wash on it. And it didn't stain any of the color. It just settled in all those little recesses, and it's super subtle. I think you can see it better back here. It almost works the same as the Tamiya paint liner, the panel liner. Okay. Now the moment I've been waiting for. Oh wait. The moment I have been waiting for. The pants. Now, I think if you look at it now, all of that yellow wash, the yellow ochre wash I use over the whole thing, it's changed it, it's tinted everything, but I think it really has brought all the different colors together. Right. Alright. So now, the reason we're all here, the golden pants. Hold on one second while I grab that paint. Be right back. Oh, yeah. Alright. Here is the secret. These are super special. I have never seen, until I saw these, Prima watercolors, I had never seen a metallic watercolor in my life. These are all metallic. It's like black magic. The problem is, they're very, very, no, that's not it. That's not it. They're very, 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 very pigment heavy. So if you thin them down too much, yeah, that's the one. If you thin them down too much, you don't get that sparkly effect. And if you don't use enough water, you've effectively turned them into a wash. And this is also a good example of why it's not. You don't want to get into the habit of licking your brush. Otherwise, I'd have tiny little gold flakes in my system. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure how well it shows up on camera, but in real life, it sparkles. And really, that's what I'm here for. More sparkle. Was there an alcohol with bits of gold in it? Yeah, Goldschlager. Goldschlager. I remember it's Goldschlager because I remember turning 21 when I worked at the hobby shop. And in the shopping center, there was a liquor store. And I worked on my birthday, knowing that we were going out that night. And one of my favorite customers came in, Officer Friendly. I don't think I ever knew his real name. He was a cop, and he was weird, like super weird. And I loved that. He would he would come in some days with like from the utility belt up, cop, but Bermuda shorts, and I want to say he had his normal police shoes on, but I can't say for sure. And he was just the weirdest guy. And you'd be like, why are you dressed like that? It's like, oh, I just drive to work like this. And then when I get to work, I just change my pants. Why? He's like, oh, I hate those pants. Okay. Still has his gun on, his whole belt, his whole kit situation. Just didn't like wearing those pants. So he didn't. Anyway, it's my birthday. He finds out I'm working on his little remote control car. I don't mean to belittle it. I'm working on his very macho remote control car. And somehow it comes up that it's my birthday. And he leaves, and that cop went to the liquor store and came back with the biggest bottle of Goldschlager I've ever seen. He's like, I just busted a bunch of underage kids last night, and this is all they had. It was... And the way they were whining about it, I thought it must be the coolest thing ever, so I got it for you. I never drank it. I never drank it. I just kept it because I liked that story. And I was afraid if I finished it, I would forget that story. I miss that guy. I don't know whatever happened to him. One day he just stopped showing up. Alright. I don't know, can you see it sparkle? You have many questions, Mr. Sparkle. Do I still have it? I do. Do I know where it is? Totally valid question, to which I had to say no. I know it's around. It's I have a small collection of alcohol because I don't really drink. It hurts too much when I wake up, so I don't drink much at all. Weddings, I love drinking, but I have a collection of like some alcohol that I've gotten from some events that friends give me. The Goldschlager is one of them. I got a six-pack from Byrne the night he got married. I was his best man. I still have one of those. For the longest time I had them all, but I drank them the other night. Long story. Still kept one. But I have a small collection of like meaningful alcohol bottles. But no, I don't really drink. It's not my jam anymore. But we are done the painting portion. Now the question is, do I traditionally ink this? Meaning I find the pens that I hear there. Do I traditionally ink them? Right here, right now on the stream. Or do I digitally enhance them? Meaning I take a picture of this, I go into Procreate on my iPad, and I draw from there. Now I can do that. I can do that actually pretty easily. Scooter, it's up to you. Traditional is the way to go? Okay. You asked for it. Alright. These are microns. Scooter, for painting Warhammer figures. Or anything of that scale. Is that fine? Yeah. Get yourself one of these guys. An 005. Alright? You can do pupils. You can do black lining. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. It's very teeny tiny. Alright? So don't go jabbing stuff with it. These are like $1.25. Staples, art stores, wherever. Get yourself one of these guys. Me, I use these because they are, and this is a big thing, waterproof. Because if you're working with watercolors, what do you need? Waterproof. Alright. Here is where I start to hover. So maybe we move this. Right. Yeah, right there. Be prepared to see a lot of my hat. Scooter, you might have been right. Scooter. Do you want to hear a funny story about me in art school? I'll take your silence as an affirmative. Okay. In art school, of which I was involved in 3 different art schools, I was always getting yelled at. For what, you might ask? To which I would reply, my line work. Yes, the thing that has become a staple in my style. My line work. Uh-oh. I think I lost my line here. Nope, I got it. We would do still lifes. We would do pastels, anything we did. It just seemed like, to me, everything should have a strong outline. It felt very wrong to leave something without definitive shape. So I would put lines around everything. And I did not receive very good grades in art school. It was kind of compulsive. I couldn't stop. So then I figured if I couldn't stop, then I gotta find a way to make it work. And that meant refining it and refine and define. Instead of having everything have a thick outline, pick out the stuff that should have a thick outline. Harrisonburg. If you're out there watching, appreciate you. Okay, I can kind of see them getting upset, but still, sometimes you just have to let people do the thing. I understood where they were coming from. In college, you're taking, let's see, it happened mostly in my still life drawing, right? I work sketch-wise, I work fast. So in the short time periods where you're doing like 30-second gesture drawings or 10-second posture drawings, you get the shapes right. You get the gist of it, the gist of the composition. Here's your major blocking, and here's another detail. When you get to the 30-second, you say, all right, well, here's like where the light's coming from. When you get to like the minute drawing, you have a bit more detail and a bit more refined. I went straight away to really heavy lines, and they hated it. They hated it. I get it. I just couldn't. I felt really bad about putting my name on something that didn't have those lines. Even now, like when I do these things, I have certain rules. I can't, like, first when I go to ink, I have to do the eyes first. Why? It sounds silly, but like when you're in the sketching phase and you're creating a character, you're creating something, you kind of have a conversation with it. At least I do. I went to a seminar where somebody else said the same thing, so I feel better. You talk to it, you kind of figure out what it is, how it came to be, what its deal is, where its place in the world is, and I do the eyes first so I do the eyes first, just like I never put heavy lines at the bottom. If their feet are on the ground, they don't get a line. But I feel like they should see what's going on. Like the first sign of life, Even though the eyes are super, super, super simple. And there's one thing I have a really hard time hearing. I get a lot. When someone is talking to me about my art, they're a fan, they like it, whatever, they often say, oh, I just love how simple it is. A lot of work went into how simple it is. I know it's a common descriptive thing. I
just love the simplicity of it.
And it's meant as a compliment. It's not meant as a dig. It's meant as just a descriptor. And I get it. It's still a little biting. Because there's a lot of work. A lot of planning to make it look simple. But I still love a good compliment.
Scooter, it has been a while since I traditionally inked something.
That's a lie. I did it last night. I was inking those Pokemon last night. I just lied to you. I'm sorry.
They were smaller and, dare I say, simple.
It's been a while since I did a whole
inking of one piece.
Yeah, it seems a very common misconception that any form of art is simple. It might look simplistic, but even the simplest things are complex. It's true. Wise words, Scooter.
There's a lot of effort, man. Whether it's in the planning stages or all the practice and effort you put in
To get it to look that simple.
Oh no. Oh no.
Am I running out of ink? Is your time come?
Oh no. I have a small little graveyard for pens and supplies that have passed on the line of service.
And I'm really kind of proud of them. Is that stupid? Probably. Pens that have run out of ink from being used too much, like they've literally done everything they possibly could and everything they were made for. I think there's something beautiful in that.
I had never ever, before I started, oh yeah, man, it's getting sketchy. Before I started painting and drawing every day,
I had never used a pen to completion.
And now
I have a bunch.
Yeah, it's getting sketchy. But even pens that are kind of working sporadically, like this guy is, have a place.
If you have a pen that is running out and is working sketchy like this guy is starting to, they're really great for textures.
However, I'm going for a different texture effect than it's working against me. If I was confident that I could find a replacement pretty easily, I would stop and go get one.
Oh, Scooter, you made the right call. I'm feeling this. O2. Now, originally I gave him a belly button. Oh, hey, friend, what's up? Now, originally I gave him a belly button. Something with that much fur doesn't usually have a belly button that's prominent, so I think we're gonna forego that detail. Just got off another friend's stream. All right, well, welcome, man. We're pretty late stage here, but depending on what time we end here, we might play some games later. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, this pen is not long for the world. Making me a little sad. A little sad until I realize I get to go to the art store tomorrow. Oh man. Oh, it's fading fast. You know what? Give me 1 second. I think I do know where another one is. Uno momento, por favor. Who's a lucky boy? Yes. Thank you for your service. Who's a lucky, lucky boy? Take us with you to the art store, please. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I could take you guys and my 3 kids. It's an adventure. Oh, look at these strong lines. This guy. This guy. Big strong lines. Alright. Now we hold our breath. Perfect. Hold our breath again. Yeah. Yay, Sharpies. I will supply my own transportation on a mountain bike. Yeah. You got a bike rack in case you get tired. Oh, yeah. This is good. Perfect, perfect, perfect. doing it. We're doing it.
Here comes the hard part.
Oof. Oof. I gotta do this all the way through. Oof.
Alright, let's try. I think it's so difficult to do long sweeping lines.
Because I fell into a bad habit. Let's get crazy. I do miss Bob Ross. Got into a bad habit with art. You were supposed to draw with your whole shoulder. Starting from here and using using your pivoting from your shoulder to make lines instead of just with your elbow. You limit your range with your elbow. You're supposed to use your shoulder, and I fell very comfortably into using my elbow and my wrist. The wrist is probably the worst. Your elbow, you have more flow, but your wrist, you only have that limited little range. That's where we are.
And that's why I get anxiety every time I have to follow lines like these.
So if you were an aspiring artist
And somehow found your way here, heed my words. Draw from the shoulder. Look for bad habits before it's too late. A little thicker towards the end of the tail, just to give it some volume, some weight.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. She certainly feels done. But wait, there's more. Think about that. Alright, crazy. Fair. I think that would feel super weird to draw from the shoulder. It does. Because when you start drawing in like grade school, before you have art teachers that are looking out for to develop your actual talent and skill, they don't tell you these things. Or if you do, you're too young to hear it and you don't understand. Later, when you get to college or even high school, high school is probably the first place, especially in an art program, draw from the shoulder. And that's like the beginning of taking art seriously, I think. I've heard it enough to remember it, but not really pay attention to it. I draw from the wrist. Yeah, it's a bad habit. That's where I am. My wrist hurts. Hey, Miss April did her best to keep me in check. Did have to pivot with my elbow too. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm never gonna unhear it. Ever.
Just some simple shading, and I think we're done, man. Hot pants are done, that's the important part. Now we just drop in some shadows for let's push some stuff back. Define some areas. Give it some volume. And all those other art buzzwords. Ooh. Ooh. This is why you work with those microns. Since they're waterproof, when I go in to add those shadows there, the ink won't run. You think, I'm working with watercolors. I'm not thinking about ink. It seems like the dumbest thing in the world, but it took me a very long time to figure that part out. Watercolors, of course they should be waterproof. Is that the shape of it? Yeah, it's the shape. Here you have to go real dark. Really dark. Yeah. Yes, y'all. Alright. Let's get crazy. Alright. There's the old adage that one more brushstroke can destroy a masterpiece. And it's true on a couple levels. And I'm not saying this is a masterpiece. It could be that one more stroke would ruin something subtle about a painting that maybe isn't apparent to you at the time. And it could ruin that little subtle hint of greatness. It's true, and you might never realize it until it's too late. On another level, I did not need to go back and make his mouth darker. I could have easily screwed up and covered up part of his tooth or gone into the tongue or gone outside the line and ruined the aesthetic. But I feel good about it since it worked out. Otherwise I'd be super upset. I think we're done. Nope. Just kidding. In honor of the Pepsi Man coming back to wrestling, we're going to make this Pepsi-themed cup in that it is the same colors. There you go. Done. It's ready for tomorrow when I meet up with my friends and we go over our weekly theme. And of course this was, as you can tell by looking at it, golden hot pants. Where'd you get that? We have a wheel that we spin full of random themes. Hey, stop looking at brushes. Not game time. I do have to stop looking at my brushes. It's a bad habit. Don't do it. That's it, right? Isn't it? Ooh. Special treat. Special treat for those on the stream. I remind of another movie quote. I see London, I see France, I see my golden underpants. Are hot pants really underpants though? Alright, you ready? I used to make Instagram little, for my stories, just taking the tape off. Sadly, they would get more views than most of the other content I put out. It's a weird thing people are into. Alright, ready? Here we go. Ooh. Here's the big one. Here's the best one. Because you get to see that clean line. Ready? Oh, I can't wait. Ooh. There you go. C'est la vie. That's it. That's the stream. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I would expect to see this on Instagram, I think Thursday? No, wait, Wednesday? Wednesday. Thanks for hanging out. I will, no stream for tomorrow. Actually, no stream for the next 2 to 3 days. But as soon as I figure out the best time for the next one, I will post it. Game time, probably a little bit. I'm going to take a little break. Make sure bedtime went smooth for everybody. And then we'll get into it. Thanks for hanging out.